when your civic responsibilities, your civic duties under the Constitution, something you believe must happen, such as queue and vote, clashes with your religious beliefs? What do? Well, that's the dilemma that the SDA shared.
Starting is the most important thing. So buy a Peloton bike or Bike Plus today and get 2 months free Peloton membership. Starting made easy with thousands of classes to choose from.
My name is Cody Rigsby. Welcome to your low impact ride.
Taught by instructors that take the guesswork out of working out.
I'm here for you every step of the way.
And Peloton Entertainment, so you can watch your favorite shows and live sports as you ride. Shop our limited time offers at onepeloton.com/deals. Terms apply.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
In Ghana is facing the Seventh-day Adventists. That's a dilemma that they face. And they have written petitions to the Electoral Commission, petitions to the Attorney General, and also asking Parliament to amend the Constitution. So they changed this year's 7th December Saturday date for voting to a date that doesn't fall on a Sabbath. As you know, they hold the Sabbath in great religious esteem, and that reason they make the point that it will affect their right to exercise their religious beliefs as granted in the Constitution. But also, they also want to vote. So they're asking that the EC, the Attorney General's office, and Parliament work together to change the date. Okay, there is a clash there, but it opens up a bigger conversation that what really happens when there's that clash? What do you do to resolve this matter? It's come up before. In fact, if you look at the Constitutional Review Commission's report, there are recommendations about the date itself to be changed. The Electoral Commission itself also has its own proposals that says hold elections on the 7th of November. It wasn't for religious purposes, but at least it is part of the arguments that the Seventh-day Adventists have put together and put before the Electoral Commission. We're going to be discussing that and put in a bigger context, really, of this issue that had cropped up. Today we hear from the Chief Imam's office. They say, well, if the elections fell on a Friday, for example, they will also have an issue. And so they are backing the position of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. So that tells you that this obviously has become an issue that needs to be looked at. We'll do that. My guest will join me for a conversation after this.
We're going to demonstrate to you the superior properties of Flamingo paint as compared to other paint brands on the market. We take equal quantities of Flamingo paint and this ordinary paint. We then dilute them with water. And now, let the test begin. The gentleman on the left is going to apply the ordinary paint, and the gentleman on my right will use the Flamingo superior paint. As you can clearly see, Flamingo has the obvious better hiding. Furthermore, Flamingo has painted a much larger area. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint is made with superior formulation to give superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Crazy pa. Whiskey. Wash it. All of a sudden, my voice I hear different. And when you saw a call. Barman, bring me the honey whiskey. You know the one? Black Rock Whiskey. Honey whiskey. Chalet, honey near their fro. Black Rock Whiskey is strong. Now so taste me is smooth and it goes down easy. Excuse me. Barman, bring my friend 1 Black Rock Whiskey.
Black Rock Whiskey, blended with natural honey flavor.
Hey, what's up?
Barman.
Hey, what the over Sikanton Sata? You've been to a man, no? Me,
Black Rock Whiskey. Kebi, the feel is smoothness, no.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 years of age and not recommended for pregnant women. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Blessing, do you know of any good medical school I can take Kofi to? Oh, Fifi, is that why you're looking all moody? Then I have some good news for you. The College of Medicine and Allied Sciences, COMAS, Accra, Ghana, is a degree-awarding institution, and they offer Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery using the Graduate Entry Medical Programs, Bachelor of Diagnostic Imaging, and BSc Health Information Management. All these programs are accredited by GTEC. Their bilingual curriculum prepares you to consult in French. But I'm worried about admissions. Admissions are ongoing. Contact us on Facebook or on Instagram at info.comas or call us on 0208-456-556 or send them an email info@comas.edu.gh. COMAS, the citadel of a holistic professional medical education.
This tank is big!
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow! It has a working tortoise on it.
That's so true.
I can see SINTEX. Syntax!
That is so true, my daughter.
When it falls down, it will spoil.
That's not true.
But why?
Hey! Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Syntex again was the first to introduce white inner layers in Ghana. Syntex gives you the biggest warranty, 7 years. No matter your water needs, Syntex is the answer. Syntex tank. Are you strong? Are you tough?
Across Africa, a new era has begun. Shifting our focus to a new horizon, connecting us with one purpose: to create and share opportunities to grow. Today, we are making a brighter tomorrow, built by our dreams and our energy. Across our continent, across the world, we are creating a better way to a better future. A Pan-African future. Together. EcoBank. A better way, a better Africa.
Chaos reigns! Yes! Back in the day, I was Ghana man, but something was missing until I found the one. HD Plus is not your regular free-to-air decoder. For a small fee, you get to experience great services and exciting world of content. Dial *879# on your mobile phone and subscribe for as low as 290 cedis. This one is different. The images are 5 times clearer in HD picture quality, and I'm loving the feely experience. HD Plus, I love you.
But I'm still here.
HD Plus, for better,
for less.
That's right. Get your HD Plus decoder from any Electroland outlet or our dealer shops.
Can he tee up someone in red? And it goes to one!
Do not say
What 5 champions league? You want to know?
I be the real goat. Chairman.
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigerian Jollof?
Ghana Jollof has no co-equal. The smell alone. Oh my God.
No, that shit. You two the lie. Now the same stew when they use cook the rice and then they go put them for top.
Hey! You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
Are you here? Forget everybody. Yeah. My guy. Put some respect on the goat.
On the goat. The only goat I know lives in Tama.
Every year we dey give to you back.
We are talking about BET. I want some Yaji face.
Except be the goat, huh?
My guy, him be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 and recommended to pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Daddy, this tank is big.
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow, it has a working tortoise on it.
That's so true.
I can see SINTEX. Syntax.
That is so true, my daughter.
When it falls down, it will spoil.
That's not true.
But why?
Hey! Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Syntex again was the first to introduce white inner layers in Ghana. Syntex gives you the biggest warranty, 7 years. No matter your water needs, Syntex is the answer. Syntex tank. Are you strong? Are you tough?
And PM Express is always brought to you by Syntex Tanks. It is strong, it is tough. Alomo Bitters also, and it's also brought to you, as you know, by the Ghana AIDS Commission. My guest is joining me for a conversation tonight, and you may have heard this whole controversy play out yesterday when we got wind of the petition that was submitted to the AG's office, also to the EC, and asking Parliament to also begin a process to amend the Constitution, which has now thrown up that conversation. When your religious beliefs clashes with the civic duties that you believe you have, what do you do? The SDA case against December 7th. Joining me for a conversation in the studio with me is Dr. James Kwabena Bomfeh, and I'm grateful that you could join me in the studio for a conversation on this. And he is obviously a very important figure within the church. He is, as you know, a man not shy at all to these matters. Well, James Kwabena Bomfeh is my guest. Emmanuel Kwesi Bedzra, Member of Parliament. It's also the Member of Parliament and the Christian Fellowship and MP for Whole West. He is the chair of the Parliamentary Christian Fellowship. And as I said, James Bomfeh is my guest in the studio also tonight. Martin Kpebu is a lawyer, he's a constitutional lawyer. And I'm delighted also to be joined by Reverend Father Clement Kwesi Adjei. He's the Secretary General of the National Catholic Bishops' Conference of Ghana, also joins us for conversation. They have a slightly different view on this matter. James, let me start with you. Obviously, your members went to and presented a petition to the agencies that I've mentioned. I want to first establish the petition that you sent to the Electoral Commission. From what I learned, last year you held a meeting, actually met them formally.
Yeah.
Now you sent in a petition. Have they responded at all?
Okay, so it was a date in June, I think the 23rd of June, 2023. It was in that meeting that our request for them to do something about the elections date was presented. And the response was given there in the meeting by the chair that they were going to consider the proposal that had been brought to them and consider it, especially as they were planning for their elections calendar for this year. But we saw that the issue was beyond just the electoral commission. It also bordered on constitutional amendment of Article 1124. And our research showed that some effort had been done in which the commission had actually written a memo to the AG's department in 2016, and the AG actually moved to change Article 1124 so that
this is the Electoral Commission's Reform Committee's report?
No, the Reform Committee's report is here.
Okay.
But beyond that report, exactly, it suggested 7th of November. When the EC wrote to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General was proposing their bill to Parliament, it actually proposed the first Monday of November. So they didn't use a date, such as November 7, which was proposed in the Reform Committee's work. And if you look at the Constitutional Review Commission's work, they had proposed that the date...
At least 60 days.
60 days, yes. Before January 7th, of the new president. So we did our research around these and felt that if we proposed the second Tuesday of November or the first Tuesday of November, it would satisfy various interests that had...
But to be clear, these proposals was not based on religious grounds.
Yes.
The proposal was not...
No. None of these have anything to do
with religion. Yours is clearly a religious subject, a religious issue.
Our issue with this year's and why we are at the front of it is because it happens to be on a Sabbath day, which we hold as a day in reverence of God. And we found these previous exercises as coinciding with our interest, and we merged them to make our case stronger. And it is our view that...
Except though, that if you look at the Electoral Commission's committee reform proposal, which is 7th of November, and then you look at the Constitutional Review Commission's proposal, which is 60 days before the installation. So we're talking about 60 days to the January 7th. Now those 2 dates, that's not necessarily address your concern, except that because those 2 days can also fall on a Saturday. Because 7 November could fall on a Saturday.
I have given you the
60 days to January 7th can fall on a Saturday.
Yes, it could. But when these propositions were actualized, they moved. The bill that was sent to Parliament suggested the first Monday of November. This is what we have as evidence that was introduced in Parliament. It went to the Council of State, came back to Parliament. Parliament debated it after the first reading, debated it in the second reading, and during the second reading, I think Article 291 or thereabout, it required that they should have 2/3 majority. They put it to vote. Unfortunately, they didn't garner the needed numbers. And if you read the Hansard, those who were opposed to it or who didn't support it to garner the 2/3 majority raised important issues about the preparedness of the Electoral Commission to be able to to be able to carry out their mandate based on CI 91 and 94, where the Electoral Commission had given certain periods within which to undertake certain exercises, including the final register for the elections, the filing of nominations of nominees or aspirants in that case. So it was, in my view, from what I've read from the Hansard, it was as though if it was granted then, it was going to be impractical.
Okay, let's circle back to your fundamental reason for this, which is that it is one that will make it almost impossible, not impossible, for you to observe your Sabbath.
Well, let me make it clear, and this has happened before. We're saying that we are Ghanaians. We believe that it is our civic responsibility to embark on our civic duty of voting. However, when the voting day falls on our Sabbath day, which is in reverence to God, that conflict creates a barrier for many Adventists, or most Adventists, if not all, to undertake that civic responsibility.
Yeah, but this is a secular state.
It's a secular state.
Yeah, so if it's a secular state,
you must be minded.
Why should we change a date that is in the Constitution, in the secular Constitution?
Well, it is
because a group of religious, individuals say, well, in our cases, go ahead to our religious interest.
Your question was answered by the Supreme Court. Fortunately, in the case of Bonfair versus Attorney General, regarding the state's involvement in Hajj activities and the building of a national cathedral, labeled by the executive that was promoting it as a mother church. The Supreme Court was unanimous in their decision that yes, Ghana is a secular state, but a secular state with accommodation for religious faith and practices. And if you read that judgment, the Supreme Court relied on the 2010 Population and Housing Census report that said that 88.8% of Ghanaians were either Christian or Muslim. And if you look at the figures at the time, it was 71.2% Christian and 17.6% Muslim.
But are you making a religious argument or a Christian argument?
What's the difference?
No, there's a difference. A religious argument is a religious argument. You're making a Christian argument because not all Christians agree with the position you're expressing.
And I'm saying that, but the argument is a religious argument.
Yes, that's my point.
A Christian argument.
But you've made the point. I'm asking the question because you go to the Supreme Court and you say the Supreme Court says, well, more than 50% of the population.
Yes. Not more than. No, I was emphatic. The Supreme Court said 71% were Christian, 17.6% were Muslim. The point is that you were arguing that we are a secular state.
Yes.
And I'm telling you that it's a secular state with accommodation for religious faith practice.
And I asked that fundamental question about you're making a Christian argument, you're making a religious argument, because, as I said, not all Christians agree with the position that you espouse. So, for many, it is a Seventh-day Adventist issue, right? Hold on for a second. I want to bring in to the conversation, Reverend Father Clement Kwesi.
But before
we have made General Secretary is the Secretary General of the National Catholic Bishops Conference of Ghana. Reverend, thanks for your time on PM Express.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Let's settle this question about the Sabbath. You are a Christian also, so
sure.
It falls on a Saturday. It is a Sabbath. Do you share the view that because of the Sabbath, that necessarily then it becomes an issue for you to go and vote? Is a conflict there?
Come again.
Do you share the concerns of my colleague in the studio, my friend in the studio, James Bonfair, and the Seventh-day Adventist Church, that it poses a conflict, that poses a barrier to them, exercising their religious, exercising their civic responsibility, because it falls on the Sabbath? You're a Christian yourself, right? And you believe in the Bible. So do you see that conflict? Do you see that there's a conflict there between your religious belief and the civic responsibility to vote?
So far as my religious beliefs is concerned, I don't see any conflict in there. But I agree with him. So far as he's an Adventist, for them, Saturday is holy. It must be marked as such. And therefore, they have the right to ask for amendment to suit them. But that is the Seventh-day Adventist. I mean, not all Christians are Seventh-day Adventists. Our Sabbath is Sunday. And is apart from the other Christians who worship on Sunday, the other religious groups also worship in different days. He has the right. I mean, freedom of religion, freedom of worship. So to them, it is true. It prevents them, gives them some difficulties by their teaching. But Ghana, as you rightly said, is a secular state. So when we want to do such things, amend other things and so on, if you are coming from religious point of view, you must be careful. You must walk cautiously. You must walk cautiously. They are coming. They are 7th-day Adventists. Saturday, others also come. Then ours is Friday. Others also come. Ours is Sunday. And don't forget it. The traditionalists are also there. They will say Tuesday. Some will say Kwesidai Sunday. Some will say Ukudai Wednesday. So for me, yes, it's a good thing they are doing in terms of raising the view that you must try to maybe amend certain aspects of the Constitution. And one thing you must know, constitutional amendment is not easy. It's not easy. First, they should try and build consensus. It's very key.
Yeah, and we'll come to the constitutional questions. But I want to settle first, if I can, get your view on the religious question, because fundamentally that's what it is, right?
Yes,
what's your own religious? And you, of course, you're the Secretary General of the National Catholic Bishops' Conference. What's your own take on what the Bible says about the Sabbath and what you can and cannot do on the day as it relates to elections? You say your Sabbath is at Sunday, correct?
Yes. Please.
Okay. So the question follows.
Yes, please.
If the elections are falling on a Sunday, would you have raised the same fundamental questions of conflict with your religious beliefs?
Not necessarily.
Why?
Not necessarily. Because Sunday is a day of worship, but you must also look at the other people too. Is it feasible? Am I being selfish? Does it prevent you from the whole day? If we take the whole day for elections, then I'll go for it. But let's amend so that, because Sunday, about 70% of the population, being Christians, may not be able to vote. It's a credible reason. Then we look into it. Do they worship the whole day, half a day, quarter a day? Because if it's falling on Sunday, and because we will not be able to get the time to go and vote, or the majority of Christians will not be able to get the time to go and vote, you must take that into consideration. But you see, where they are coming from, they must get a good reason. Because for me, it's like, if you don't take it, it may seem like discrimination. Why not mine? I mean, why theirs? And that I'm saying that you must be careful. Must be careful. And in fact, do they take the whole day in their worship? We do not. And play your responsibility as a citizen of Ghana, you must go and vote. How long does it take for you to cast your ballot? Will you be worshiping God the whole day? These days they are trying to make the voting easy by bringing the police station to our closed doors and so close to us. And so maybe 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours you can. And when we are in the line, yes. So from the voting ends when 5 p.m. unless it is amended. And 3 o'clock will still be in church. Our belief allows it. That after
we're having challenges with that connection to him, but he raises a fundamental point about the religious. So I'll come to the constitutional questions. That's why we have Martin Kpebu joining me, and also Bedra from Parliament also. But he raises that religious fundamental question that I asked you, separating between the religious question and the Christian question. He says, yes, I'm a Christian too, but you've heard his argument. My Sabbath is, he says, hey, Sabbath
it doesn't take away the fact that it is a religious argument.
No problem. But my point is that's why I asked you whether it is a religious
what I'm saying,
and he says he disagrees with that.
Of course.
But what do you make of his religious interpretations of the same Bible?
Well, those are differences that exist. That's why we have got different religious faiths and manifestations. And I'm saying that you do well to read the decision of the Supreme Court in the Bonfer versus Attorney General matter. The issue of discrimination and other things, I raised them. The Supreme Court responded that this is a secular state with accommodation for religion, religious faith, and the practice thereof, and said that what I was complaining of could not be seen as an excessive entanglement. I have not gone there on a matter such as this. It had to do with Hajj Board and the National Cathedral. And the Supreme Court gave the state a blank check that he could go ahead and do it. Now, what is the point we are making? We are saying that our belief is that on this day we hold in reverence as the day of the Lord that we worship. We cannot on that same day go and exercise a secular responsibility.
Why can't you?
That's our faith. That's our faith.
I know, but
that's our understanding of the Bible.
Okay.
Everything you do must be focused on God and God only. Not anything after your personal pursuit. And we think that electoral matters border on views, feelings that are more personal and personal interests.
But the church has not before. When this happened in the 90s,
1996. The church petitioned Parliament.
Yes, but the church did not tell members not to vote on the day.
It is not the position.
From what I heard from Dr.
So I will explain to you. The church's policy on electoral matters, politics, and all these things is that in the end, it is a personal thing who you vote for, who you decide not to vote for.
Or whether you
will participate in the elections or not participate. But
even if it falls on the Saturday.
Hold on. But it is the church's policy that members of the church must express themselves in their civic responsibilities. It is from that view that the church's general understanding of our faith practice makes it difficult because we feel that it conflicts with that civic responsibility. And in majoritarian democracy, the minutest minority who is impeded one way or the other behoves on the state to take out that impediment.
But where's the impediment?
The impediment is that...
Because he's explained to you that the election starts in the morning, ends at 5 p.m. If you go to church on the Saturday, you will still have time to go and join the queue. And if you're in the queue, you vote.
So if you are listening to me, it is not about the time. It's about the exercise. The Sabbath begins in the evening of Friday and ends in the evening of a Saturday. That period is solely to be focused on God. It is not about what time we go to church or what time we close. It's about what you do and what you don't do.
But that's my point I asked you, that the last time this happened, the church did not say that people cannot go and vote that day.
Yes.
And SDA members indeed voted that day.
So the research is available also to show you that constituencies where you had very populated Adventists there, the turnout was low.
I haven't seen the evidence.
I am telling you that there were Adventists who went to vote.
As we speak right now, your numbers are around 400,000.
Well, we don't want to do the
4,000.
Evans, we don't want to do the numbers thing.
Yes. No, you mentioned the numbers. I'm coming.
I'm saying that. Did I mention? We are not making the population argument. I'm telling you that even if it is a minority of one, the state must not ignore that. But if you want to play the numbers thing, we are not that marginal. We have baptized members in excess of 400,000. But if you want to look at the holistic number, you're talking about a number around 800,000. But not only that, our facilities, including our church buildings.
You put it up just over 2,000.
About 2,090 buildings, schools and churches are used. Above that, there are members of the church who serve as temporary members of the commission. But here is the point. It's my exercise of faith. And I'm saying that it's a worry to me. We have not gone to sit somewhere to raise the issue without the appropriate forum. We have gone through the processes, researched, and found that it coincides with other interests that have already been done, including the bill that was sent to Parliament in 2016. And we are saying that it ties in with what we are saying. Can we put them together? And that's what we have done.
Okay.
If someone feels that they have a stronger argument against what we are saying, let them state so. But so far, the meetings we have held with the major stakeholders, the political parties, NDC, NPP, CPP, PNC, the National Chief Imam's Office. We have spoken to some members of the Christian Council and some of the...
The National Chief Imam's Office agrees with you?
Yes, we built consensus with them. And I'm telling you that almost all the individual groupings and faith and civil society organizations that we are speaking to don't have any reservation about this. Bottom line is that it is one way of killing about 3 bears with a stone.
Okay, so stay with me on the fundamental questions you raised about the Constitution. Let me now bring in Martin Kpebu and also bring in Emmanuel Bedra. Emmanuel Bedra, let me start with the point he raises about the bill that he says came before Parliament. And you are a member of Parliament's Christian Fellowship and an MP also. Is there something that you're willing to take up in Parliament because of the concerns they've raised? Also consider that he says it's come before you for consideration before.
Well, Evans, good evening. I heard today is your birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. Yes.
To you. You share a birthday with a colleague, Divine Fiak, Divine, also. So happy birthday to you, even though you didn't invite me for your birthday party.
There's been nothing, it's been work. I'm here with you.
Well, Evans, we started this conversation yesterday concerning this religious liberties and freedom. The thin line between your civic responsibility and then the religious freedom is so thin that I'm wearing 2 hats now, being a member of Parliament, a politician, and I'm supposed to express my religious freedom according to our Constitution, and also my civic responsibility as a citizen of this nation. Evans, this came before us some time back, and we were not able to build consensus. If you want any constitutional amendment, you need to garner not less than 2/3 of members of Parliament. 276 members of Parliament should be able to get not less than 180 plus members to agree with you that you will change the Constitution, especially if it's not an entrenched clause in the Constitution. Unfortunately, we're not able to get members of Parliament who will support that when it came before us. So we've lost the debate, or we lost it. Evans, having said that, since yesterday, I've been going through my head and praying about it, because this has to do with people's religious understanding. And one scripture that came to mind, if my colleague Dr. Bonfa is there, he doesn't mind reading Mark chapter 2, where time came, Jesus' disciple went into a field. They were so hungry on the day of Sabbath, and some of them decided to, take fruit and eat on Sabbath day. And then so that the Pharisees came to Jesus and asked him, why is that your disciples are eating or breaking the law on Sabbath day, just as we are arguing now that some of their members will not be, may not vote on that day as part of their civic responsibility. And you know what Jesus said when the Pharisees came to him? He said that the law of Sabbath was made for man and not man made for Sabbath. And Jesus Christ, he himself, is the Lord of Sabbath. And so for us to understand this religious argument, not a constitutional argument, to understand this religious argument, we should also understand that the law, which is the Sabbath law by God himself, Jesus said that it was made for man. And so man can decide to agree or not to agree. That's why on that day, his disciples even ate or decided to go against the law that was made for Sabbath. Having said that, my brothers from the Seventh-day Adventists should be able to, as they started, they claim they started some conversation with other religious bodies. They should continue same and get to Parliament to be able to convince a majority of us why the day, not the date, the day. Their problem is the day. I heard you talk about the day, the Sabbath, the Saturday. Why, if it falls on that day, we should not hold the election on that day. And then also they should be able to convince other religious bodies as well to follow suit, that if it happens on Sunday, then all religious people who worship on Sunday should also move it to another day. And if it falls on Friday, we should move it to another day. And if you are not careful, Evans, it will continue unabated and we cannot have an election. And so for me, it's neither here nor there. Our colleagues, our brothers from the SDA or Seventh-day Adventists should understand that Sabbath is made for man.
So respond to that for me. And he quotes a very, and I'm sure many have quoted that to you. I want to repeat it so that you can address it, because the Sabbath is a fundamental concern here. And this is Mark 27, right? It says, one Sabbath Jesus was walking through the green fields, and as his disciples walked along, they began to pick some heads of grain. Now the Pharisees said to him, look, why are they doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath? 25, he answered, have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need? 26, in the days of Abiathar, the high priest, he entered the house of God and ate the consecrated bread, which is lawful only for priests to eat. And he also gave some to his companions. Then he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord, even for the Sabbath. That's his point. How do you respond to that?
Well, you see, you want to do the canonical interpretations of Scripture. We will have a better platform if we want to.
Not just simply address
but I'm saying
that's very fundamental.
That is his interpretation of it. But I'll tell you, the Lord of the Sabbath also says that the Lord changes not. And he who said, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, in the law that he wrote with his hands at Mount Sinai, could not change it to say that do not revere it anymore. The instant of Jesus telling them that he was the Lord of the Sabbath and that the Sabbath was made for man and not man for the Sabbath was an instant issue that he was addressing and dealing with an excessive entanglement of misunderstanding of the Sabbath, that we can go into that interpretation.
But the fundamental is
But he was not saying
working, picking the fields when the others
they were not picking the fields. If you read that account and you read the various interpretations of it, this was a one-off incident.
Yeah, but
it was not. Please.
But it's about the fundamental issue about can you do something else on the Sabbath other than observing it?
Of course. And how do you
religiously?
What is the observance of the Sabbath? It is about the focus on God. And this was a situation where the emphasis was on the attitude of the Pharisees than what the apostles have done. It was the Pharisees taking and trained positions that were not grounded on the law of God and picking against people what to do, what not to do, and presiding over judgment that belong to God. Our understanding of Scripture is that you don't allow a routine thing such as what we do with elections. It happened in 96, it happened in 2008, and with the greatest respect, our petition is talking about disallowing or not allowing elections to take place on Friday, on Sunday, and on Saturday.
What is religiously neutral? Choose a religiously neutral day.
Exactly. And the Tuesday is a day that fisher folks and people in the farming communities, mostly in Ghana, revere as a period not to go into farming or go into fishing, but as a holiday where they will stay.
People go to church on Tuesdays. The Tuesday services. We also learn from the African traditional religion, who also have their own beliefs.
We hold services on Tuesday, but we don't hold Tuesday as a day of reverence, as a Sabbath.
Yeah, what would you say
the distinction should be made. Evans, we are talking now. If anybody holds a view that a day that is picked, they hold exception, as we are making, let them make that.
Otherwise, let us not speculatively dismiss an empirical fact that people are raising. We have an issue with it. We have raised it. We raised it in 96. It was not followed through. We have had a recurrence. We did the research and we found that, look, bring everybody along. So you are not seeking just your interest. It's about the interest of a holistic people who express a religious faith. So my brother from the Catholic Bishops' Conference, we are seeking your interest.
But he's already told you that he disagrees fundamentally with you.
He disagrees with our interpretation
and
of
that
the Sabbath.
Even if it's not beyond that even if it falls on his Sabbath, with his
because he
doesn't see a conflict.
Good. That is his interpretation of it. We see that.
But the same Bible.
The same Bible. So different interpretations.
Yeah, just hold on for me.
And you are not. If you like, stopped from holding your view, which is personal to you, and you are guaranteed that right under our Constitution.
You are.
And you have a right to express so.
You are. Hold on for me. Let me bring in Martin now. Martin, a legal question. Ultimately, it comes down to the Constitution of this great republic. Where do you stand? And I know you're a Christian, I'm assuming. Are you? Let me ask for a start.
Yes, I'm a Catholic.
Oh, you are a Catholic. And then you have your Secretary General on the other line. And so behave.
Yeah.
So behave. Yes. So Martin, give us a constitutional position on this matter. You've heard all the arguments. You've heard the legal arguments. You've had the religious basis. Is this even possible, looking at where we are right now? And what does the Constitution say?
Yeah, so absolutely. It's possible to do an amendment if we are minded to do it. Because we are looking at Article 63, Clause 2, right? And then, so that's the one that sets the time frame for the presidential election. Says it shouldn't be earlier than 4 months, okay? And then it shouldn't be later than 1 month. So it is that provision that the Afarijan took and juxtaposed it with Article 112, Clause 5, the one about the MPs, which says that for MPs, the election can take place within 30 days to the end of their tenure. So when they looked at it, they saw that 7th December, which is the last day for the presidential elections to begin, and which also is the first day for parliamentary elections to begin, could be used so that we'll have both elections and satisfy the Constitution. Now, the second point is that the Constitution allows, Article 112 is not entrenched. So that's the main argument. Because it is not entrenched, it can be amended before the elections. If you look at the amendment procedure in Article 291, this can be done far before the election, because I keep saying that the way to analyze 291 is that look inside it, look at the procedure. What are the big ticket items? When we check, we find 2 big ticket items. That's the provisions that would take a lot of time to observe. One, there is a requirement that there should be 2 publications in the Gazette. And those Gazette publications should be 3 months apart. 3 months apart of each other. So if you publish today, the second publication should be 3 months from today. Today is what? What's 17th? 17th January. Yeah, so 3 months. So that's 17th April. That's when you can do the second publication. Then also when you read 291 further, after it's been laid, the Speaker must refer the bill to the Council of State. The Council of State also has a maximum of 30 days. Hopefully they will finish earlier. So, but you for now, just for calculation purposes, it must stay there for a maximum of 30 days. So if you add the 1 month to the 3 months already on the Gazette publication, you get 4. Then also, we'll look at the timelines within Parliament, like the first reading, second reading, the going to the committee, all those things. They can all be done within the remainder of the 6.5 months we have. We'll be well within time, except also that, the EC, if you look at the way the EC goes about its electoral timetable, within a certain period, it must make available the album and the rest. Still, It can be done. And the African Charter on elections and governance and all that, I think within the spirit, if only we are minded, it can be done. If we think we are not well prepared, then the best option then, or the best alternative, is to do early voting for them. But once again, I want to repeat that when it comes to early voting, please, the opposition will be disadvantaged. They are usually hard pressed for cash. So then in that case, the state has to support, because if we do early voting for about 400,000 people minimum, like from the figures Kabila is giving, that means that we need a full day. So the opposition candidate, the opposition parties will need their party agents all over the country and all that. That's going to be a strain on them. So maybe we should look at the matter of party financing here, because we all know that the incumbents will...
But Martin, there's also another constitutional argument that they make about, and he cited the Supreme Court, verdict in his own case, the cases between yourself and the Attorney General, right? Also, he raises that the secular state question had come in. Religious accommodation that's coming. Do you see any questions there in the Constitution to be answered on that point? That if there's this clash between his religious beliefs, which his religious beliefs are also guaranteed in the Constitution. His freedom of religion are guaranteed. Do you see in the Constitution are there any constitutional questions there? Because some have said, if it's a secular state, then why should we change the date that is already settled for one religious group when others also have a right to 7 December? Please unmute. I can hear you. Okay, great.
Yeah, the religious argument is not likely to go very far. So it's good that, and that's how come they are not going to the court. They are appealing to our conscience.
Yeah.
And you see, even though they are appealing to our conscience, we ourselves already have a problem with the December 7th, that it usually puts undue pressure on for the transition. So we have a pre-existing problem, and now the SDA's request has just come to serve as a catalyst for us to solve that problem. Because, trying to do transition and elections within 1 month is a stretch. It gives too much pressure. So you see that they've been very tactful, though they are advancing the religious argument, but they are also aware that it's not being advanced to the extent that they are saying, look, if you don't grant us this, we are going to court. No, because when you look at it, usually the courts looked at some rights and they're able to restrict. This recently, last year, the matter of chiefs taking part in politics, active party politics. The Supreme Court looked at it and said, no, active party politics means that don't endorse a candidate. Don't endorse a candidate. However, you are free to praise government projects or criticize, even though we know in practice, where they are free to praise or criticize, they can use it to endorse indirectly. But my point is that on the face of the law, the chief's right to participate in active party politics is being circumscribed. And so it is for judges, electoral commission, SHRAG, etc. But they can't also participate in active party politics. So the point I'm making is that the rights are subject to certain constraints. So when you read the Constitution and you interpret, you hear Reverend Father Clement saying that, look, that's a religious worship, take the whole day. You can go to church and then come and vote after. So for me, it's good riddance that the SDA people have brought this petition to help as a catalyst for us to solve our pre-existing problem.
Okay.
So let's look at it.
So there's a more practical issue there. Reverend Father Clement, so for the Catholic Church, our friends in the SDA have raised their issues. You've already told us where you stand on this matter. How do you propose we go forward in trying to resolve this matter for them?
Going forward, we have to start building consensus. It's very key. Because when voting election falls on Friday, it creates some kind of inconvenience for the Muslims.
The Muslims, yes.
And what Sundays, same for
that
Christians.
we have accommodated. Draw his attention to that.
Going forward, it's good that they have started, But you see, that's why I said that religious grounds, I mean, you may not succeed. But it is good because already we've all been talking about the 7th December, people give different reasons and so on. I think it is good that they have come out with it. But I was just trying to question them that we need to build consensus, not only even within Christians, Muslims, and other religions.
We've heard from the office of the chief imam today, and they admit that they've met them, they've built a consensus around that already. The chief imam's office agree with their position, and they want a neutral date. Anyway, Mr. Bonfer, very quickly. So where do you go from here? In terms of, you've already laid the petitions already, right? What's next for you?
I mean, we're still in talks with the Electoral Commission to make.
Have you heard anything from the Attorney General's office, though?
We have gone to this letter.
Yes, I know, but have you heard from them?
Yes, we I mean, it was a meeting. This was handed to the Attorney General with his legal team on the Tuesday, the 9th of January.
Okay.
Last week.
Godfrey Dame himself?
Yes.
Okay.
And he offered his view on the matter.
But what view?
That it was a good idea. He was concerned about the element of time if we don't start the process early, or I mean the process don't start early, they may be constrained based on the requirements that my friend.
But I need to ask you a final question because of time, though. Because assuming this doesn't change, right? Are you saying that you won't vote, and also your premises